On Monday, August 21st, we said goodbye to room M10 at Auski Roadhouse and headed for Newman. On the way, we swung by the Koodaideri Extension, drove down to the mine, and there was a train just finishing up loading, so we set up and shot that and chased it back to the north a ways, geographically west. And then we headed for Yandy Junction, and we couldn't decide whether to go on towards Newman and Jimblebar or whether to swing down Yandy, and we decided to swing down to Yandy 1 and Yandy 2 because we were really wanting to see the South Flank Extension. We hadn't got that far down yet. And so we went, caught a train at Yandy 2 loading, got some good shots there, and then drove down to Mac, and there was a train loading there, and realized that the road went right through the middle of the mine, and we couldn't do that, so there was no way to get to the South Flank Extension. So we drove back to Yandicoogina Creek and ate lunch, and before too long the train that was loading at Mac came rolling out, and we shot it at the bridge, and then chased it away. Then we went down towards Newman, and we caught a train at Poonda, and we caught another one at Mindy, and we caught two at Jimblebar, and shot a couple of nice little bridges there, and then went on into Newman, got checked into our Airbnb to get set up for the next 3 days. And for dinner that night, we stopped at the grocery store, picked up steak, smoked shrimp, and baked potatoes, and cooked dinner in the Airbnb, which was really nice. One of the great things about an Airbnb is you have a full kitchen. And when you come in at the end of the day, it is actually faster to cook a meal for yourself in an Airbnb than it is to try to go find a restaurant. Especially in some of the places we are, there's just not a lot of facilities. So that turned out to be a pattern with us at Airbnbs throughout the Pilbara.
Rinsing the iron ore off of the baggage is what I'm doing.
It's a mess.
Iron ore dust everywhere. I mean, look at that. Pilbara.
Yep. On Tuesday, August 22nd, we slept in till 6:30 with the idea of just knocking around Newman, which we did, and it turned out to be a really slow day, one of the slowest for our entire stay in the Pilbara. We just didn't catch a whole lot. When you're out at the ends of things, that's one of the problems, is you're near a mine, and you know, they may only load a couple of trains a day at any given mine, so that restricts your traffic. And so after knocking around in the morning, we ate lunch at Jimblebar Junction, and it turned out the highlight of the day was that afternoon when we caught a northbound load coming out of the Jimblebar hub, crossing the highway there right at Newman, and heading up towards Yandy Junction. And that night, keeping the pattern going, we had loaded baked potatoes with grilled onions and cheese and bacon, leftover steak, all the fixins. Another good dinner in the Airbnb. After the slow day on Tuesday, we were ready for a change of pace. I got to looking at the maps and realized that Roy Hill was actually closer to Newman than it was to Auski Roadhouse. So it didn't take much convincing for Lon and Mel to jump on the idea of going to Roy Hill for another day. So we got up at 5:30 for the hour and 20-minute drive north. And we just had a spectacular day on Roy Hill. That end of the railroad, catching trains coming out of the mine, that first 20 miles, 25 miles is really spectacular. Lots of good shots and pushers and really neat stuff. So it turned out to be a really good day, making up for the really poor day the day before. And I didn't record what we had for dinner that night, but I have a pretty good idea that it was probably baked potatoes, along with whatever else we scrounged up. On Thursday, August 24th, we were up at 5:30 with the idea heading north and west and covering the southeastern branch lines of Rio Tinto, which Mel and I had never seen any of that area before. So we headed for Rio Tinto, and it was almost as slow as Tuesday. Didn't catch a lot. We had lunch at Finch, and ultimately we headed back to Newman and spent a couple 3 hours on BHP to no avail. Really didn't get anything to show for it to speak of. So a couple of good shots at Newman that we had yet to get. And for dinner that night, we had grilled chicken and peppers, asparagus, carrots, and you guessed it, baked potatoes.
Sorry, I'll just get that out of the way.
Oh, you could have the rest.
This is enough for me. This plate is getting kind of full.
Boy.
And at dinner, Mel came up with the table decorations. One of the more unique things that has happened during our meal times. He took a Spinifex plant and put it on a napkin and put a YouTube candle in front of it. And the shots that I sent back to my family of that were the only shots that I think every single family member commented on. So kudos to Mel for coming up with another unique thing to add to our portfolio. So this was our last night in Newman, and we would get up in the morning and we would head for our next destination, Tom Price. Normally Phoebe is bouncing along beside me, but on a warm day like today, she's pretty content to just sit by the four-wheeler and wait for the return home. Thanks for watching.